What's going on, guys? How y'all doing? This is the Club of the Man 1993. I am here live for my live review of AEW Fyter Fest from both nights 1 and that made no sense. From night 1 and night 2 of Fyter Fest. And the show took place on both July 1st and July 8th, 2020. At Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. Like the Great American Bash from NXT, I waited to treat this like a pay-per-view review, even though, once again, I didn't throw together, a bunch of graphics I normally would for a pay-per-view review, but this is still good enough. So we're going to talk about the show from both nights. I'm also going to do a very brief recap of SmackDown. That would be very interesting for sure. But this show, of course, was much more fun, much more interesting, much more intriguing than any crap going on in WWE right now. But overall, again, I thought it was a very good 2-week show for Fyter Fest. Was this good as I had hoped for? Not quite. Part of it was because of Jon Moxley obviously having to quarantine because of his real-life wife, Renee Young, getting sick. So, obviously, he had to quarantine. So, they've moved the AEW Championship match, AEW World Title match, to next week, July 15th, for Fight for the Fallen. Which, that one I will also treat as a pay-per-view as well, and I'm sorry, but for some reason, I'm just noticing this now. There we go. There we go. I noticed there's those little black spaces there. I don't know why, so I wanted to, fill those in. Anyway, so I will treat Fight for the Fallen as a pay-per-view review as well. Even though it's kind of more like a network special, basically, like a different background, but not as much of it for a real pay-per-view. Whatever you want to put it as. So I gotta say, the thing I like the most about Fyter Fest, despite the fact that, we lost one of the biggest matches, the main event, Jon Moxley and Brian Cage, I do think this show, what I liked about it, really built up a lot of tag team wrestling. They gave tag team wrestling a lot of time on this show. Between, the two matches, the Elites, Kenny Omega and Hangman Page had 2 title defenses on both nights. Private Party had 2 matches, had 2 really great showings. Best Friends, not bad. I'm still not the biggest fan of them, but still not bad. Of course, we had that 8-man tag match with the Young Bucks, FTR, Lucha Bros, and Butcher and the Blade. Definitely match of the show for sure, of both nights. That match for sure. Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy, not bad. I expected a little bit better though from that one. We also had, of course, I thought, a star breakout performance of Penelope Ford. And, of course, we also had another freak little accident with Dr. Britt Baker. So, and also, of course, we have Nyla Rose making an announcement after she was in action with a brief squash match. But, we'll get into that a little bit later. First, let's check the live chat and see who we've got here. We've got Mark. What's up? What's up, Tyler? We're going to wonder who Nyla Rose gets as a manager. Me too. And hey, also how Fyter Fest is awesome. The Elite Squad. What's up, Elite Squad? It's been a while. Chris Benoit done a better crossface than Brian, Tyler says. Elite Squad says, pretty sure Vicky Guerrero will be the manager for Nyla Rose. She's so annoying. Oh boy. That would be interesting for sure. We'll have to wait and see. I do agree with that, Marcus, about Orange Cassidy. I'll get to that later on. If you're bringing back the WWE Countdown after the Undertaker stream, do the top 10 storylines that the wrong person won. Again, maybe we'll see. Elite Squad's giving Omega and Page versus the Private Party 3 stars. Archer and Janela 2.5. FTR Young Bucks the 8-man tag 4 stars. Rose and First Jobbers not available. Dark Order 2.5, Jericho and Cassidy 4.25 stars. Show rating B, AEW really A. AEW really wanted to beat NXT in ratings. Definitely, unfortunately, I think in ratings, I think Great American Bash just got them by a little bit. And here's the thing, I'll say this. Great American Bash had my favorite moment out of both shows with Keith Lee being crowned a dual champion. But I still think this show just outbeat it, I thought, in total. NXT again was good, but I felt that, again, it was seen as a little bit better than I gave the grade I did. 'Cause I gave it a B plus, because of the moment at the end. Fyter Fest, I thought, from top to bottom, was a really good show. Not everything was perfect, but again, I really liked it, and I do think, especially again, they really built up tag team wrestling in AEW pretty darn good with this show, I will say. I'm going to do the best and the worst of WCW pay-per-view ending soon. Sweet. But yeah, so let's talk about the show. Let's talk about night 1 first from Fyter Fest. So we open up with MJF and Wardlow coming out, and MJF gets on the phone to cut a promo, running Jurassic Express down. Basically, of course, saying how, Jungle Boy, despite the fact that MJF continues to beat Jungle Boy, is still getting opportunities over him, such as him having a match with Cody Rhodes for the TNT Championship, which was a very great match. Good story going with this. So that leads to a match with MJF and Wardlow taking on Jurassic Express's Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, and Luchasaurus. A pretty good opening match for sure. Continuing, on this feud. Even though, once again, I'm still not understanding as to why, again, they threw in MJF with a random feud with Jungle Express, when again he still should be, lurking around and teasing some other, not like a match yet with Cody Rhodes, but some type of future match with Cody Rhodes again, because the story with him and Cody should still be continuing. I still like how they kind of abruptly end it. They teased it a little bit whenever Cody won the TNT Championship, and obviously things coming down in the Battle Royale with MJF and Jungle Boy, but again, it's it was just a small tease. I feel like they need to do a little bit more, if you know what I mean, with it. But of course, it was a very good match. Again, Jungle Boy is definitely becoming a bigger star. Luchasaurus, again, still a person you gotta watch out for, but I'm pretty sure at some point he's gonna have a really big, breakout match for sure. Eventually, though, Jurassic Express does get the win after Luchasaurus hits a standing moonsault on Wardlow. So, again, still surprised that, Wardlow is still taking some pins, despite the fact that he's a big dude. I get it, they're protecting the heck out of MJF, and I still think, at All Out, he's probably going to challenge, even though it's been a little kind of back and forth. Still thinking he should be challenging and probably beating Jon Moxley at All Out. I'm still thinking that may happen. I'm predicting that. Good opener, I gotta say. It was good. It wasn't amazing, but I thought it was good. So they celebrate, and then backstage we see Lance Archer attacking Joey Janela, as they're teasing a match for night 2, Lance Archer and Joey Janela. This next match actually was a really good match, and it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Hikaru Shida versus Penelope Ford for the AEW Women's World Title. This was great, and I think because it was one of those matches where it's like Penelope Ford became a bigger star in this match. This is where the match was kind of it felt like that they I don't know, let the cuffs off her or something. They let her go all out. She is much more talented than I've been seeing so far in her appearances. She has some sleeper holds, back breakers, not enough. running knee to the back of the head as well. Falcon Arrow. There was a couple moments as well. Again, this the talent of Penelope Ford really stood. I didn't think she was that big of a deal yet. Like when she had her match with Chris Statlander when she replaced Britt Baker at Double or Nothing, she felt just like a placeholder. This match, though, it felt like a match where this match felt like a women's version match of Pac and Orange Cassidy. That's what it felt like. A match where Penelope Ford, didn't win because Hikaru Shida did retain. But it felt like it actually, put Penelope Ford on such another level and showing that she has much more wrestling ability than they've seen her as the sexy blonde who's with Kip Sabian. But I really like this match for sure. It was a good way for Hikaru Shida to retain her title, but also a good way to kind of put over, because again, I have to keep saying, the women's division I still think is a little on the weaker side in AEW, and this is definitely a good way to just build another star for sure. With Penelope Ford, but Hikaru Shida wins an each strike to retain. Then we have Taz cut a promo breaking Jon Moxley's paradigm shift down with an emphasis on how Brian Cage's traps are so thick that it's not going to be as effective as usual. Talking about how bulky Brian Cage is. Then we had this match for the AEW TNT Championship: Cody Rhodes and Jake Hager. Again, this match was good. Again, I'm not sure though. Again, I'm still trying to rub off the whole Jack Swagger rust with Jake Hager. The promos he had again with his build for his no holds barred empty arena match, whatever he wanted to call it, with Jon Moxley, I thought were really good. Like the stuff building up for it, I thought was very good. Had me interested. The match happened, and I still was just like, Jack Swagger. I still had that Jack Swagger taste in my mouth. And I still feel like it's just not wearing off for me when it comes to, Cody Rhodes taking on Jake Hager. So I wasn't really too invested in this match. It was good, but it still wasn't anything too special for me. And then the finish was odd. So, it was an ankle lock applied on Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes gets his hand on the ropes, but then Hager's wife slaps Cody. The referee's distracted, and Dustin Rhodes comes down and nails Jake Hager to even the odds. An inverted face lock across Rhodes was blocked. Huge rock bottom from Jake Hager into an arm triangle, but Rhodes then shifts, reversing the arm triangle into a pin. It was a weird looking pin. It looked like that Hager won, but instead it was Cody, and Hager got all upset. He knocked out the referee, and got in trouble for it. I guess this is weird because I think I've heard rumors because he was one person accused in that whole speaking out thing. I think that was a way to kind of write him off the show for now, because both him and Sammy Guevara, I think, have been suspended indefinitely because of their recent accusations or online activity that they have been doing. So I think that was a way to write him off. But I don't know, it was good, but like I said, I'm still having a hard time getting past the Jake Hager and Jack Swagger comparisons for sure. Because I think Jake Hager does have a decent gimmick behind him and his character, but like I said, I just still see Jack Swagger. I don't know. Again, it's still not blowing the roof off for me. I will say that way. But Cody Rhodes retains. We get another video package with Darby Allin, wherein he's training by skateboarding, ziplining, and so on, and he's getting ready to be back soon. Orange Cassidy came out, took a seat on a folding chair at the commentary booth, with Jericho, of course, going nuts because they had their match for night 2, but Jericho's like, I have a job to do, I can't do this tonight. Private Party took on Proud and Powerful Santana and Ortiz. A pretty good match. And Private Party win with Gin and Juice hitting on Santana. Post-match, Matt Hardy raises Private Party's arms and celebrates him with the win. And this actually set them up for getting a World Tag Title shot to open up Night 2 of Fyter Fest. So we'll get to that momentarily, where I thought they had a really, really good match. Chris Jericho then throws stuff at Isaiah Cassidy and then throws his water in Orange Cassidy's face. He jaws at him before rushing after him, and we get a pull-apart brawl to send us a break, and I believe this is when Chris Jericho was off commentary for the rest of the night. And then we have the tag champs, Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page, being interviewed, saying that best friends are great, they deserve the shot, but the titles still aren't changing hands. This was when we were announced that Moxley and Cage has been moved to the Fight for the Fallen Dynamite episode on July 15th, which then leads to Brian Cage and Taz coming out, and Taz cuts a promo about the title match getting delayed. Saying they're not upset about it, they're easy like Sunday morning, and he's actually had a nice, healthy conversation with Tony Khan. He spoke about his concern for the health of all their employees, and Moxley has tested negative twice, and if he decides to come to work next week, he'd get tested here because AEW doesn't run a sloppy shop. Taking some shots, of course, by WWE for how bad their testing are. He talked about how Moxley knows he's going to lose, and asked the question, who better? And we then have a good main event between Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega, taking on best friends Chuck Taylor and Trent. In a good match. Again, I still think... Again, best friends are getting up there, but I still don't consider them the strongest tag team for sure in this tag team division. But it's still a nice showing from them, but the Elite retain. After the match, though, out comes FTR, who, of course, for Night 2, has that 8-man tag match that they're teaming with the Young Bucks. They go to the ring with beers to share with the champs. Page, though, takes his eagerly. Kenny's a little more skeptical, but he takes it all the same. Omega is real ginger about it before dumping it on the floor. FTR then get in his face, and the Young Bucks arrive and defuse the situation. And then Hangman ends up standing with FTR as they begin to bicker as Night 1 ends. So, of course, that one, that was, thought it would have me teasing a little bit more, but then, of course, the way that 8-man tag match ended, we'll get to that in a little bit, but that was Night 1. Let's check the live chat before we go to Night 2. NXT had a better ending. Main event NXT beat AEW in the ratings for 3 weeks in a row. NXT's making a comeback. How about Jericho? He never got his rematch. I still don't quite get why Jericho never got his rematch for the world title. Taking shots WWE. How give a damn, pretty much. Yeah, again, I'm very surprised that they're doing that in the ratings war. And even MJF mentioned it in his opening promo from Night 1, and I forgot to mention. But moving on now to Night 2. So, the show opens up with a reel for tonight's show, hyping up all the matches. And we opened up with another tag title match. It was Hangman, Adam Page, and Kenny Omega taking on Private Parties, Isaiah Cassidy, and Mark Quinn. Really fun tag match. Again, I really think also the momentum that Private Party has gotten, especially also since they've kind of budding up with Matt Hardy, I think has really helped them. I think they definitely had the better showing than Best Friends, in my opinion, in this tag match. I think they're the ones, if there's any TFO that's on the rise right now, it's definitely Private Party, I would say. I thought they had a great showing here. Unfortunately, though, they fell short as Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega retained with the last call on Isaiah Cassidy to retain the AEW World Tag Titles. Who is going to be the ones eventually, though, to take the titles off of them? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I definitely think it's down to 2 teams. 2 of them, of course, were part of that 8-man tag team match we'll get in a little bit. We then moved on to just a decent match between Joey Janela and Lance Archer. Felt kind of like a little bit like a throwaway match just to get Lance Archer back in, give some momentum back, since I'm still very surprised he lost to Cody Rhodes. So obviously, they got to get him back on track, and he took on Joey Janela, who is just continuing kind of like, eat the pins. I mean, I kind of dug a little bit what they were doing with him and Sonny Kiss, who also appeared in this match as well whenever there was some involvement from Jake Snake Roberts. But eventually Lance Archer won with the lateral press, and that was that. We get another promo with Darby Allin, wherein he calls Brian Cage out and shows us his coffin drop training for his comeback, which is falling off a crane and into a pit of foam blocks. So I could see maybe, because I'm still predicting Moxley to retain over Brian Cage, maybe we will see Darby Allin and Brian Cage maybe at All Out. That could be a pretty interesting match, Darby Allin style against the big muscular style of Brian Cage. So that definitely interests me, I think. And speaking of which, we have Brian Cage and Taz come out talking about how Cage is going to beat Jon Moxley, and he calls attention to a black sack in his hands. He created years ago. It's basically his full body work, his blood, sweat, and tears. It's the FTW World Title. No promotion has ever recognized it, but wrestling fans respect the man that holds it because he's the baddest SOB in wrestling. And that man is the machine, Brian Cage. He gives his title to Brian Cage, obviously give him some prestige. Speaking of which, we had match of the shows for sure. 8-man tag match. We got Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson teaming up with FTRs, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler. They took on Lucha Bros, Pentagon Jr. and Rey Fenix, and Butcher and the Blades, Andy Williams, and Pepper Parks. Excellent match. Especially showing that, well, again, Butcher and the Blades, alright, but definitely Lucha Bros, FTR, Young Bucks, three of the best tag teams for sure today, and they showed why they were the best. All the freaking near falls in this match, some of the close spots as well. Lucha Bros pulled off a lot of excellent high flying maneuvers to break up pinfalls. I thought were unique and different. We had a cross team super kick party. Goodnight Express from Wheeler and Nick. Williams took out Cash Wheeler after they set up for a pile driver, but there was still a spike pile driver got in there, and Pentagon then pulls Harwood off of the pin. There was a Phoenix dive to break it up. My favorite spot of this match, though, was when Rey Fenix pretty much did a Canadian Destroyer. He jumped onto the top rope, and I forgot which. I think it was one of the Bucks. I think it was on there as well, and everybody else was outside the ring, right underneath them. Did a freaking Canadian Destroyer. Basically jumped up onto the ropes and wrapped around his legs around the neck of whichever, I think one of the Bucks it was, and just tossed him on the top rope to hit a free Canadian Destroyer on the rest of the pack outside the ring. I marked out. I thought it was sick. Again, it was just a match that just officially just capitalized how great all eight of these guys are. Well, again, 6 of them get Butcher the Blade, still growing, but I thought they had a good rub from this match. Eventually, though, there was a malfunction at the junction as Matt Jackson accidentally super kicks Dax Harwood, set up the Lucha Brothers to get a spike package pile driver to hit that on Matt Jackson, and the heels get the victory, which was excellent, because I thought perfect. That sets up the match for All Out. But then they showed this brief clip really quick before we cut to commercial break. They showed FTR just getting the ring cool, shake hands, good job guys, we're out. they didn't really tease much tension there. And I thought that was a little bit of a missed opportunity. They should have had some other type of like a tension tease there. Because obviously that's setting up for All Out. All Out, they gotta do FTR and the Young Bucks. That's when it's gotta happen. That, again, to me, that is going to compete for Tag Team Match of the Year. Right now, my Tag Match of the Year is still Omega and Page versus the Bucks at Revolution. But I think they're teasing for that match. That match has got to happen at All Out. But I wish they would have done a little bit of a better tease what they did than how they did that, and them just walking in the ring, shaking hands, like, good job, guys. It's all right, and walked out. I'm just like, come on. That was a little bit of a missed opportunity there. That was something that hurt a little bit. Hurt a little bit, but still want to see the match. Young Bucks, FTR, All Out. Let's go All Out. Do it. As I think should happen. We had this segment also afterwards. We have Big Swole arriving, where she's informed that she's not allowed in the building. She's served with a notice saying she knows that it was Britt Baker who's banned her from the building. She walks off complaining how it took 3 hours to drive here to come to Fyter Fest. So, again, they're really building for a match, again, greatly for All Out while Britt Baker's still hurt. Of course, that was not it for what we saw for Britt. We'll get momentarily. Nyla Rose then had a 2-on-1 handicap match with two jobbers, Kenzie Page and Kylan King. After the match, though, Nyla Rose makes an announcement. Everybody's been wondering what she has to say, but she believes actions speak louder than words. And she's looked in the back and she sees all these great wrestlers with managers. So she's taken it herself and she's hired a manager. But she's not ready yet to tell us who. She mentioned that a lot of wrestlers with managers like Cody Rhodes, champion, Brian Cage, champion, but he's still fighting for a real title in AEW. And her manager is going to ensure that she wins the title back from Hikaru Shida. So, interesting. Wonder who's going to be. I know some people are starting to say in the live chat, Vicky Guerrero. Maybe. Who knows? But we'll see who it is. We'll find out soon. Maybe next week. Maybe for All Out. Who knows? But Nyla Rose hired a manager. And we'll see how it goes. We then had Dark Order, Brody Lee and Stu Grayson teamed up with Colt Cabana taking on SCU's Christopher Daniels, Frank Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky. It's just continued on the story with Colt Cabana being consumed by the Dark Order, who has been giving him wins ever since he's kind of given them a chance. Colt Cabana and the Dark Order win, but again, I'm just not digging it. Again, I like what Brody Lee's done. As the rest of the Dark Order, I'm not digging it. I'm not. Probably the weakest part of both nights, besides either that or the Lance Archer and Joey Janela in the match. But yeah, I'm sorry, not really. But Colt gets another win as he's been winning so with the Dark Order by his side. But then we have this segment with Big Swole in hat, hood, and mask finding Dr. Britt Baker and Rebel, and just they start bickering because Britt Baker obviously had written stuff up to ban Big Swole from the arena, but it ends in a freak accident, legitimate freak accident, as Big Swole I think throws all those papers back into the face, or she throws something at Rebel, and Rebel acts like goes like ugh, like what she got back in the face. Her hand smacks Britt Baker in the nose. And I think they're playing off as Britt Baker broke her nose again, because she did so whenever she fought Hikaru Shida months ago. But it just sucked for Britt. She keeps getting these freak little accents, but to me they're working. Like they're working for sure, and just making Britt just look like the best thing in the women's division again. When she gets back, she's got to win the world title. I mean, Hikaru Shida, I like having the women's world title. I mean, even Nyla Rose wasn't too bad. But this division is Dr. Britt Baker's for sure, I gotta say. And then we get the main event. Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. Santana and Ortiz came out at ringside, but Orange Cassidy kept, the best friends in the back. The only time they got involved was whenever Santana and Ortiz, just threw orange juice at Orange Cassidy, and best friends got involved and fought them off. The match was good. I still liked Orange Cassidy's match with with Pac a little bit better. And to be honest, I felt Orange should have won this. Because, how is him losing going to, make any difference? Then, whenever he fought, Pac. I thought that, Jericho could have taken the loss here. They could have given, Cassidy some type of a win that would still protect Jericho, but Orange should have won this, I thought, in my opinion. Still a great match, though. I mean, Jericho dominated a good amount of it, but Orange Cassidy fought back a lot towards the end. He had a couple great near falls. He even kicked out of a code breaker. Jericho won whenever Cassidy went for a Superman punch, but Jericho hit a Judas effect for the win. It was weird because earlier in the match, Jericho hit a Judas effect again, but it looked like it was a modified. Again, I hate these cheap looking finishes. There's a spinning elbow or something like that. It's just you still elbowed him a lot throughout the match. What's this spinning elbow going to do to make a difference? I'm not a big fan of that finisher. I don't like these really cheap finishers. That's why I don't really like the knockout punch or the women's right or whatnot, or even whenever Sarah Logan was around her Kentucky knee or whatever the heck it was. Yeah, so Jericho wins and the show is kind of rushed off the air. But yeah, so that's what happens. So that's the show. We get some good stuff. Some stuff to set us up for All Out. Well, we do have Fight for the Fallen next week, which pretty much is just an excuse to, have some type of a little bit of a show again to make up for Moxley and Cage getting delayed because of the of Renee Young getting sick. But Moxley's okay, thank goodness. But I'll give Fyter Fest a B+. Again, a lot of great build with tag teams, and a lot of their stuff was still good too. Few things I wasn't a big fan of, such as again the stuff with Colt Cabana and the Dark Order, and then the Lance Archer and Joey Janela match. I'm whatever. But again, tag team wrestling, that Hikaru Shida and Penelope Ford match is definitely a sleeper match. Definitely don't skip out on that one if you haven't checked the show out. So I'll give this a B+. Just outdoing NXT Great American Bash, I think. Check the live chat before we go off the air here. Taz bringing back his own FTW title for the original ECW, basking in his glory. Let's see a mixed tag match with Braun and Alex versus AJ and Charlotte, maybe. And he's going to review Backlash 2000 as well. Nice. But I'm going to come back here in a few minutes after this review. I want to do a brief... I didn't watch SmackDown again. Just watch the top 10. But I am going to do live reactions to one segment just to see how bad it was. And you know what I'm talking about. But I'll come back up here in a few minutes. Take a brief break, refill my water, drink it in, man, and go from there. So, guys, what are your thoughts on AEW Fyter Fest? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, to slap a like on the video, subscribe or comment on my channel, follow me on Twitter at DemandAirborne93. Next week when I do Fight for the Fallen, I will treat that as kind of like a pay-per-view review as well. Give a special background like this, but nothing too fancy to do for a normal pay-per-view review, but still going to be placed under my pay-per-view reviews instead of just a Dynamite episode, even though this was a very, very, very classic episode of Dynamite. But does that be the case for a Fight for the Fallen next week? So let's go do it, guys. I'm checking out. Have a good night. I'll see you soon for my very brief recap of SmackDown. Have a good night. Peace out, everybody.